everybody. Christine here with Kndrd. So excited today to have Ken Conklin, which is
Woo!
the
Hello,
founder.
everyone.
Yeah, he is the founder, CEO of Gravel to Castle for premium branding. His work is impeccable. He has a rock star team. And we're going to launch right before I hit record on this interview. I said, well, hey, Ken, do you consider yourself like independent, location independent or digital nomad? Sometimes people, they don't like the term digital nomad for whatever reason. Yeah. And then Ken's like, no, I'm totally, what did you say?
Well, I feel like it's the same thing. I mean, those are just buzz terms, right? Every couple months, there's always a new buzz term that comes in the entrepreneur or any world. And so it's like, oh, I'm a digital nomad or I'm location independent. It's like, they all mean the same thing to me.
Okay, cool. So let's launch right into it. Ken, like talk about your journey. Like when did you get started? Like how did you do it? What made you do it? How often do you travel around?
Yeah, so I was 18. I went to a Catholic high school, and everyone I went to school with were going to, all the, very high-end colleges and some in-state. But I was the one kid that went to this high school that realized, you know what, I don't want to do the traditional route. I want to do something different. So literally 2 days before I was supposed to go down to U of A in Tucson, Arizona, I decided to withdraw and try to figure out some other alternative to, doing the traditional route. And so I had no game plan, but I knew that I was making the right choice by not making the wrong choice. So I worked for 6 months at a Subway. It sucked. All my friends were in college having the time of their life, and here I was, not progressing. And so I had a really low point, and I had a lot of family issues, like things that, everyone deals with. But I got to a point where I realized, you know what, I have nothing to lose. Why don't I go chase my dreams? So I literally moved to California with, I think $1,000 and a camera. So enough to like barely have 1 month's rent. And that's it. And I got to figure stuff out right away. So I moved to California, Santa Barbara in January of 2016. And that was when I was like, you know what, I'm going to go all in on creating content and, creating things that people can watch and experience a certain emotion or whatever and storytell. And so I moved there. I actually went to school for a little bit in Santa Barbara. And I just started taking photos every day. So literally from like, I had my job at Levi's and then my job at, my clothing, whatever, normal job. And then I was creating content and doing some freelance stuff on the side at the beach, downtown all the time. And I got to a point where I got pretty good at, creating content and, doing social media stuff. So that's when I actually kind of shifted directions and started doing marketing for the student housing company. And so it was awesome. It was the best job I could have ever had, especially being 19, being the marketing director, doing all these, running around, filming apartment complexes and doing all this website stuff. It was amazing. But I got to a point where I realized, you know what, I'm not fulfilled. I can be doing this for other people and have a bigger impact and everything. So that's when I literally booked a one-way ticket to Maui, Hawaii. I quit my job, quit my school, and literally just packed up everything. And the crazy thing is, I didn't know anyone in Hawaii. I literally had no game plan, but all of a sudden I had this sense of like this urgency inside me saying, I got to go chase my dream right now. And so I literally just landed in Maui the next day at noon, opened up my laptop, looking on Craigslist for a place to stay. And so for 2 hours, it was very stressful because no one was getting back to me. I was calling people saying, hey, I see you have a room for rent. I'd love to come check it out. They're like, oh yeah, you can come check it out next Monday. But in my head, I'm like, I need to do it now because I have no place to sleep. So fortunately, I actually found an amazing place that night. It was the perfect place, right near the beach. It was an amazing house. So that's kind of how I got my, fix into it. But I got to a problem where I realized that I didn't have the like-minded people around me that could help me achieve all the things that I wanted to achieve. And so I actually moved to San Diego where there's a lot of entrepreneurs and that whole community where it's, everyone's focused on, living their dreams and having fun, but also creating an impact and, all the different areas that you want to, be well balanced in. And so that's what's awesome about Kndrd is literally you're living with other entrepreneurs that do the same thing. They're digital nomads or location independent, whatever it is, but they also are focused on, the same end goal that you have, which is on a big scale, create a big impact and, live life on your own terms and all that stuff. But it's cool because everyone has their own business. Like it's not the same business. They all have whatever businesses they run. And so I feel like every Mondays or whenever there's the masterminds, you get so much value from hearing other people's perspective when you're talking about your own business, what you're dealing with in terms of challenges for that week. And all of a sudden you get outside perspectives that you wouldn't even think about because you're always stuck in your own head.
No, I
And
love that.
that's
And
kind of my
that's,
feel.
yeah. And that's the part, that's how I met Ken, was that he stayed at the original Epic Entrepreneur House in San Diego for like, what, 2 weeks, I think, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it was just great having him in our home. And it was just so much fun. We had a blast creating content, and just, I think you're exactly right. Just being around like-minded people is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
Oh, yeah.
way cool. And then since then, I know you've jumped around. Well, you were in San Diego. That was probably your longest stint, was staying in San Diego, right? And now you're
I
kind
was
of,
pretty surprised that I stayed in
yeah.
San Diego for quite a while. Yeah.
And then now, so in the last couple of months, tell people where you've kind of jumped around to.
So I've been to Arizona. Actually, the only two states are Arizona and California within the past 2 months. But I've bounced around a lot because, like, for me, my particular business, how I market myself is creating fun content that gives value to people and helps them with marketing and branding their business, but also gets people to go, wow, like that's really cool watching. So I've just simply been from like San Diego to Los Angeles, a lot of Hollywood area, to Santa Barbara, to Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona. So bouncing around quite a bit because I don't like to stay in one place for too long. I think that's the millennial generation, is we're always so quick to bounce around from thing to thing. And that's why you got to be careful with that, because in the business world, you want to focus on one thing, right? You want to focus on one thing and dominate it. So fortunately, I've been able to control that emotion for my business and stay in one lane and not bounce around. But in terms of like living and lifestyle, I always like to switch things up every couple of weeks for sure.
Yeah. And then that was my next question. Is it hard to keep a really solid routine when you're traveling and jumping around? Or are you pretty dialed in on your daily routine?
When it comes to getting work done and on the business, that's pretty dialed in because I keep a very tight schedule. Like I follow basically the schedule I create for myself the next day. So it's like that comes first before anything else. But because I'm working on so many video projects, things have gotten maybe not necessarily unorganized, but unstructured. And so it's definitely been a bit of a challenge, especially with like working out and having a gym and like knowing the area. Like when you're bouncing around from place to place, you definitely have to, I'm not really sure what the right term would be, but I guess adjust and be able to adapt very quickly.
Adapting. No, that's a great word.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite thing about kind of your lifestyle and the way you live? And then what's the thing about it that you don't like?
Well, I'd say the favorite thing is the unknowing. It's a constant adventure. So I have a very positive attitude, and I'm always, down for, some new experience. And so definitely every single day is a new experience living this type of lifestyle. And I like the idea of not having to be in a particular place at a certain time. So like, that's how I structured my business to make sure that, the value I bring to my clients, I don't have to be, in person. So that's a big thing that I really focused on this past year to make sure that I could have the luxury of being in a situation like that. Some of the downsides, I think, it's if you're not around the like-minded people that us entrepreneurs need to be around 24/7, then I guess you can slip or fall off just a tad bit in some areas because you don't have the constant I guess not push, but like different perspectives and everything. Like people saying things that are positive or all of a sudden spark something inside you that you wouldn't even think about if you were just in your own head.
No, true. Okay. That's a great point. And then at least tell the funny story about what was it, last year in Los Angeles, how you booked on Airbnb. Tell them that.
Oh my God.
You
So,
have to tell that story.
okay. So I always heard all these stories about people traveling the world and staying in hostels and how it's, not too bad. I'm like, okay, yeah. Like everyone says you meet awesome people there, but they're always talking about being in Bali or being in some other country. And so, for some reason, I was like, you know what? Let me go try this in downtown Los Angeles. And after that one night, I realized I never want to do that again because, I was fine. I survived. I'm still here. But it was just a very awkward experience around people that aren't entrepreneurs or aren't, doing the same thing as you. So there could be, potential problems if you're around people that you don't know and trust, and maybe they're going through whatever things in their life, and like, I don't know. So let's just say I'm going to make sure I don't ever do that again. So that's why we need to make sure we have plenty of Kndrd quarters locations all over the place. That way it's like, oh, I need to go to Cincinnati, I can
Yeah,
have
and
a
you
Kndrd
could
quarters there.
trust us. No, and it was so funny because we were both traveling to LA. Like I had my room already, my hotel room, and Ken's like, "Oh, I'll book something on Airbnb." And then we see each other at the conference, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm at this place where we're sharing rooms, and there's lockers, and this." I'm like, "Oh my God, you're at a hostel."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, that's what a hostel is." I'm like,
And the
yeah.
thing is, it didn't say hostel on the Airbnb, but
They don't.
I mean,
They don't anymore. I don't know why.
yeah.
But my favorite part was like Ken's like, yeah, I told them I worked at Subway because I didn't want them stealing my laptop
Oh
and
yeah,
my
I didn't
expensive
say anything
camera.
about my business. I'm like, oh, I'm just still trying to figure life out.
Because yeah, you had all your laptop and your camera equipment.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
This is the best. Okay. So that is a downside. It is a downside, right? You're not in this network and you guys are jumping around. You guys don't know people. And that's been like
Yeah.
a common theme on these interviews as a downside to that
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle. Okay, cool. So that's funny. I thank you for sharing that funny story.
Yeah. And the thing is,
Yeah.
there all comes into the experiences, right? So
Yeah.
because I experienced that, I know what I don't want, and I know how, like I said, with unstructured, or maybe like you lose kind of the routine from bouncing around from place to place. You certainly learn how to adapt much quicker versus simply not ever going through those experiences, and then all of a sudden it happens at a time that you can't really afford to have it happen, and then you kind of fall off, or like things really mess up. So I'm definitely fortunate to have gone through all the experiences to learn, to grow, all those things.
Awesome. So then what type of place, so we already talked about it. You do Airbnb, you've done co-living, you've done hostels now. What do you look for when you decide to stay at a place? Like, I know you're very last minute, you just kind of jump around. So
Oh
like,
yeah.
do you just look like the day before on Airbnb? Like, and what is it that attracts you to that listing?
So the biggest thing is, obviously I want to be in a nice place, but I want to also be around people, and especially the right people. So, I'd say on a like broad scale, it's being around other, business owners, entrepreneurs. That way I know I'm around people that, see the world the way I do, where we can literally become whoever we want to become. They're hardworking, they chase their dreams, and, they also have a desire to have some sort of impact, like not just, achieve their own success, but also somehow make the world a better place. So that's one thing. But to be more niched down, I would love to be around other content creators. And so my biggest focus right now in my business is really going all in on my personal brand, creating video content, interviews, all these things that really push my message out to the world. And so if I could be around people that not only are the entrepreneurs that are hardworking, but also are doing the same thing, or like we'd all be in the studio collabing on an interview, or like giving value content, like stuff like that. That would be the most ideal thing for me at this time, at least.
But do you go on Facebook and do you put it out to your network? Like, hey, I'm going to be in Los Angeles next week, and try to find that core group of people to find like an Airbnb together with?
So fortunately, I'm able to post on like Instagram stories and say, hey, I'll be in Los Angeles. Who wants to link up or whatever? And I'll have quite a number of people that respond to that, because I have a decent following all throughout Southern California. And so that's one way, but I haven't really actually leveraged Facebook to because I have a ton of people in, Southern California that are just like us. So I probably should start leveraging that because I'm sure I could find meet some, incredible people that way. But simply just Airbnb, the website, and I guess my network that I already know of, talk to on a daily basis. That's been my strategy so far.
And then what do you travel with? Like, how much stuff do you travel with? Do you have a
Oh,
suitcase and
I'm
a
a
backpack?
minimalist big
Okay.
time. Yeah,
Okay.
I literally have my backpack, which has my laptop, my camera, some equipment. And that's what's nice about my business is, I don't need a whole lot. So I also have my tripod, but I don't even use it that much, because most of the time I'm creating cool stuff, traveling around versus just being stable in one place. But then I just have a big duffel bag that has, I think, like I have my nice boots that I can either go to a club or film, be on video with, simply some nice Nike shoes to go running or do whatever, and then flip flops. And then a couple other change of clothes. So I have my suit too. So it's like whatever outfit I need for whatever situation,
I
I've pretty much
love
got
it.
that dialed in. Yeah.
That is so awesome. Like, I'm so intrigued by, like, yeah, just how everybody's just scaling down their lives to create more freedom.
Because that's what's awesome is like, you know, everyone's different. Everyone has their own points in their life and own desires. But like for me, I'm not attached to any particular things at all. Like like I have plenty of other nice suits or any other shoes that, you know, would be nice to have all the time. But it's like, I'd rather just have that in a storage unit so I can be, you know, traveling pretty light. And like, that's why I just need my laptop. As long as I have my laptop, I'll stay sane. If I didn't have that, then no, I'd need all my stuff. But
So yeah, laptop and a charger. That's all we need.
oh yeah.
That's the worst. You have the laptop and you forgot the charger, and we're roaming
Oh
around.
yeah, charger, of course, and then
Yes.
all the cords. But yeah.
Yes. Cool. Okay. So my last question for you is, in your personal opinion, where do you see the future of co-living and like housing, providing housing as a service and making it more flexible?
Well, it's so interesting because, you know, I was born in 1997, so I kind of grew up with, you know, these Game Boys, and then, you know, the iPads, and then the iPhones, and, you know, all these different things, like this world of like this new age of technology that many people didn't experience or grow up with, if they weren't born in that era. And so it's been so normal to see all these services like Uber, Airbnb, that are totally changing the game and totally transforming, you know, our day to day and how we operate. And so, like, I think it's gonna be a totally normal thing, especially, you know, with Kndrd quarters and like this entrepreneur world, for people to have a desire to live with, you know, like other like-minded people, instead of just being alone. Because I this past year I lived in an awesome place that was by myself, and it was great, but I got lonely, and like I wasn't around the like-minded people 24/7. And so it's important that I am, you know, in that environment, because, you know, without it, it's like, yeah, you don't have the constant, you know, up leveling that, you know, all the other people give you when you're around them.
Awesome, Ken. Well, thank you so much. This was an amazing interview. I really appreciate your time today. And then where are you off to now? You're in West Hollywood now, right?
I'm West Hollywood currently, and probably about 20 minutes, I'm going to head to Santa Barbara and collaborate with some other awesome people and film an awesome video project. So I'm excited for that.
Good stuff. Okay, well, we will talk soon. And again, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You got it. See ya.
Okay, bye.